Welcome to What the Flicks review of the season finale of The Walking Dead, Season 4, Episode 16, A. A is for A1 sauce, maybe, or adventure, or ass-kicking, as we found. So we're done with Farmer Rick, and now we've got Reaper Rick, or Hungry Rick. So let's start where we kind of, the first half of the episode, in which the band of not only murderers and rapists, but also pedophiles come and meet our group, and Daryl sort of kind of tries to save the day. He does. You know what? He's a good brother.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's really fair to say that they're all pedophiles. I think that one guy's obviously a pedophile, and I think that it says a lot about the group that they accept him despite that. A lot of people discriminate against him.
We're going to have the boy, not he's going to have the boy.
I'm totally just playing devil's advocate.
They're all going to do terrible, unspeakable things to Michonne and Carl.
Why would you let that guy stay as a part of your group?
As long as he obeys the rules.
They're
terrible people, John.
I would claim the headshot on him.
You know what?
Like
Daryl should have run in and just said, claimed, and then saved Michonne and Carl.
I said that to my TV.
Yeah,
smart, yeah.
It would have worked.
Yeah, no, that group was more messed up than we thought. I do think that they have sort of a weird, twisted logic where it's a lie to say that they killed your friend, but they're still good people. They probably consider themselves good people, but they just beat that dude to death last episode.
You know what? They're not logicians.
That is true.
They're just assholes.
Yeah, that was a really exciting scene. That was one of my favorite scenes of the season, actually.
It's actually a pretty close remake of one of the comic scenes. There were several homages in this whole episode to the comic. This was one of them, and down to the delicious bite of Sloppy Joe that Rick had.
Yeah, I liked Joe. I thought he was interesting. I wished that he would have escaped or something. I think that he was a cool character. It's too bad that we only got like one really good episode with him. Obviously, it's pretty obvious that Rick is not only, this isn't just him like sort of reestablishing himself as like kind of a badass, but the fact that he's doing it in as a zombie a fashion as you can is interesting.
He's become the monster.
He has become a monster.
Another theme this episode.
Yeah.
I'm a monster, you're a monster, he's a monster, are we okay? And of course it brought us back to, can you come back? And I think the answer to that is no, and you shouldn't. You evolve, you turn into the best person, not only that you are, but you have to be. And in this case, that's not always morally or great, but you do what you have to do. You have to be pragmatic.
Do we think that human teeth could do that?
Sure.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, I think if you had to, you could probably bite my neck open.
If you can bite like a really tough steak.
Well, for science. We
Yeah,
gotta
I guess
know
that's
if the
true,
show
but
is
that's
right.
cooked and stuff. But of course, also as we're gonna get into, I mean, the fact that he is biting someone to show that you will do whatever you need to do to survive, and then you have at the end of the episode, you have a group that might also be biting people to survive.
Yeah, but cooked, you know.
Cooked. It is, so maybe they're better. Maybe they're better people.
What I think this show does really well, and has always done really well, is you put a group of people, our protagonists, into situations where sometimes you have to be a terrible person, sometimes you have to kill people. You have all these morally ambiguous choices, and we see good guys make these choices, and we see bad guys, or who we perceive to be bad guys, make the same choices, and we have to wrestle with that in our minds, like, are our good guys still good guys?
No,
are they bad guys?
difference.
When they start raping little boys, I think they're bad guys.
There's a difference because Rick did that in reaction. He didn't run out. He was not the kind of guy he would run out and like rob unarmed people or kill unarmed people for their things.
But I'm not talking about just Rick's comparison versus this group. I'm talking about 5 seasons of difficult decisions and meeting strangers out on the road, or choosing to help people or not help people, or save that guy out in the field who was about to get eaten or not save him, or hide.
It's
the hitchhiker.
And you can't be 100% good, or...
I'm not saying you can, but what struck me this episode was when they were approaching Terminus and Carl says, are we going to tell them? Are we going to tell them who we are? About all the stuff we've had to do, all the morally ambiguous choices we have to make, all the people that we've killed.
He says that on the assumption that they're not monsters too.
But
they are monsters. Everyone in this world is a monster to have survived this far.
But you and I and John and all the people watching at home have followed this band through all the things they've had to do and all the weighty decisions they've had to make, and now they're about to meet new people. And it's like, who do we present ourselves to? Like, how do we present ourselves to these new people? Do we let them know, like, what we've been through? Like, this intimate look that we've gotten as viewers. who are you in the zombie apocalypse?
Well, and it's somewhat biasing us. Like if we just saw like a bullet point list of what each of these characters had done and hadn't been along, for the ride with them, we probably would think that they're all monsters too. Like, oh, she gunned down a little girl. She says that the little girl was bad, but I didn't see that evolution. Like, it's easy for us to like obviously take the side of these characters because we've been with them, but maybe some other groups would be equally as sympathetic if we had been watching them the whole time.
There's a difference between killing someone because you want their stuff or their meat, and protecting your son from getting raped.
Think about
yeah, there is between those two things.
Yes, obviously. I'm not comparing Joe's group to Rick's group in any stretch of the imagination. But I mean, think about the people that are at Terminus. Do you think before the zombie apocalypse they were cannibals? Do you think they were bad criminal people?
It looks like they have some kind of crazy ass cult based on the candle
room. They're people that are
room.
living through a zombie apocalypse and they made choices and like. What if, like I was talking about Andrew with this, what if, next season starts up and the main characters are now the citizens of Terminus? We never see Rick's group again, assumedly they get eaten. And like now we have a whole group of people whose backstories we get. Like, are we as an audience able to rectify that and like consider these people protagonists, like accept their stories and see where they came from?
I don't think so.
I disagree.
I'm saying I think they're just people that have, made choices
they
during.
had to start
Well,
dragging
we
people
don't
in.
know for
Don't even
sure
entertain
what
my
they're
hype.
doing. We've seen that they could have just gunned those people down and cooked them up if we think that they were cannibals. Obviously, they were drawing them out to that area or leading them. I mean, it might be that they're storing them in there because they want to eat them, or it might also be that they pulled a gun on someone, so they're sort of evaluating them for a period of time. We don't know for sure. But to not jump ahead too far, I did like that we finally had Michonne telling the story of how her child died, what went down in the refugee camp. I thought that was interesting. I liked that callback because I think it actually added something in it. It was during the last little bit of private time that Michonne and Carl had. That's pretty much done for now. I wasn't a huge fan of the constant flashbacks, and most of the people I've talked to have said that that's what they didn't like about the episode. I felt like we had so little time to get that group to Terminus, to deal with the rapist group. I don't think we needed all of those callbacks when we already saw him going through that leader to farmer to leader transition. I felt like it was sort of unnecessary. I get what they were trying to do, but I did like the Michonne story at least.
Well, you do know with this show they can be pretty heavy-handed with their symbolism. I'm sure that was there with Herschel saying he needs you to be his father, he needs you to do this for him, to just parallel what he's doing for him now as a father. We get that cool scene with, we get reminded of the feral pigs and not naming pigs so that you don't get attached to them, much like Archer, Samurai,
And boy or kid?
Ringleader. And then we also have another illusion for, I guess, hunting with the rabbits. You recall that scene. You and I were talking about this with, you have to lead them down this way and then they'll get trapped and they'll be there. Just sort of like what happened in Terminus and what's been happening with the train tracks this whole time. So I don't know. What's the theme now? Meat? Hunting?
Well, so really fast, just because you brought up the names, I mentioned this before the show, but so what would you want your cool nickname to be if Gareth was to be leading you into a train car?
I don't know. I have not not talked ever in my life. I have not thought about this.
Okay, well, you give yours and you think.
Well, it seemed that he was naming people based on the weapons that they carried, and I figure I would have like a baseball bat or something. But I think he'd probably just call me Blondie.
You wouldn't have a weapon at that
Even if
point.
I had a huge axe, he'd still call me Blondie.
Yeah. Aw. Post-apocalyptic isn't fair.
No, it's not.
I want to be the apothecary. I think that
What
would be
is
cool.
wrong with
The apothecary.
Would you have like pouches of potions and
Exactly.
powders?
It would basically just be sand, but
John,
people
pocket
become
sand.
mystic in the post-apocalyptic world.
I
but
feel like that was your D&D name or something.
no, it wasn't. I was mostly a DM. I wasn't a player.
Okay, I could see that actually.
Anyway, yeah, I thought that was a fun little addition. It shows that this cultish ringleader has a bit of a sense of humor to him. I like that. Although I thought that he wasn't an archer, he was a bowman. Didn't we just have that argument?
Archers have bows, not crossbows.
Yeah, exactly. He's a bowman. Anyway. So we had one little scene that I thought was interesting was him not trusting the potential Terminus people enough that he put the bag of guns outside. Maybe someday we'll need it. I was like, that's clever because we're probably going to spend a season at Terminus, so this is like we're going to call back to it in a long time. I think like the first episode, someone's going to get to those guns. Somebody is going to get out of the A car, get the guns, get Beth, Carol, and Tyreese.
Who are still they're in play, but we don't know where they are, if maybe they're in a crate, maybe Tyreese and Carol will come in later.
I think if they were in a crate, they would have just had them, I think we would have seen some evidence.
They would have been crated with all of our other friends.
Yeah, or there would have been like, you'd hear their voice or something. I feel like this is supposed to be an indication that they're still out there.
Do you think Beth is in Terminus, or do you think maybe it's possible that the people who kidnapped her drove elsewhere? Because that doesn't seem their modus operandi of gathering people.
I would have to say that I think that it could have been a different group before, but now that we've come as far as we have, if it was a totally different group, like we don't have time for that. I think that either she's totally gone or it's the Terminus people. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Terminus people obviously have the resources to send people out to put up these signs days walk away from their place. We have to assume that they're doing lots of hunting down of resources and stuff like that. And if they really have a hankering for human flesh, they could be doing some takeout. I don't know.
John. Okay.
It's possible.
Sure. So I guess let's move a little bit forward in the episode past the taking a bite out of crime over to the arrival at Terminus. So Sasha was right before. Anything that looks too good to be true is probably too good to be true. Mm-hmm. What did we think of the eerie kind of nature of the place?
I thought that the old woman doing the announcing had an awesome like sort of Fallout vibe to her.
She did.
Like it's very much something you would have seen in that world. I don't understand what I guess either what the group's philosophy is or what the show is trying to say about them, that they simultaneously don't have a locked front gate and people can easily sneak in the back door, but they have a team, like a SWAT team in the bushes. Like Rick conceivably and his group could have slaughtered all of those people if they'd wanted to. I mean, we weren't shown that they had snipers up in the rafters later or anything like that. Conceivably, they could have killed all those people. And if they're supposed to be so in control, I don't think that should be possible.
They were shooting at their feet.
No, I understand after, but I'm saying when they bust into that first room and saw Gareth and all them and they were like, I don't know, doing crafts or something.
They seem oddly impressed that they came in the back door, as if this may have happened before. They seemed oddly prepared.
I mean, they said, who's on watch or whatever. Well, somebody should be on watch out of your 20 people with rifles, I would think. I don't know, I'm sure that they have an explanation for it, but I do think that that's weird.
It's one thing that Terminus didn't see them coming. It's another that Rick said, okay, we're going to spread out and check it out. And they didn't see any of the snipers on the roofs. They didn't see people in the bushes. They didn't see armed guards all over the place. So, and then it was like, and let's all go in now together anyway. And we'll just walk right in and say hi.
Yeah, exactly. The first person we see, hey, how's it going? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could be that they're crazy or something like that. And so they have the guns, but they don't have the planning. I don't know. It's interesting. And I think, if anything, it makes me more interested to see what happens next season.
So we do think they're cannibals. That's our consensus.
The only thing that leads me to believe that, and rightfully so, is a big bloody pile of bones.
Yeah, and
Human
the complete
bones.
lack of animals.
Yes.
Well, those are really big pieces of meat for the little piddly rabbits and squirrels they've been catching.
Mm-hmm. Could be elephant.
There was also this strange part where Michonne asks, why do you keep letting people in or something? Mm-hmm. And the guy takes this big plate of barbecue from Mary and he says something close to the lines of, I'm sorry, I don't remember off the top of my head, the more people come here, the more people we get, the stronger we are.
The more people we take in, the stronger we become.
Yeah.
If you eat them for sustenance.
Oh my God, yeah.
Barbecue is people.
Yeah, and it does seem like at some point the series had to get to cannibalism. It's sort of weird that we've gone this far without that. But I don't know, I feel like there's got to be kind of more to that, especially because, again, I guess reverse spoiler alert, I haven't read the comics. A lot of people have been predicting that that's what it was. It seems like they would have possibly taken it a slightly different direction, but we didn't see any animals and we did see plants, so if they're eating meat, it had to come from somewhere.
Logically, yes.
The one thing that makes it a compelling group of cannibals to me is that one room they wander through. And I don't know why this room is involved in the whole trap thing, because it's very indicative of something more sinister going on. We didn't need to lead the troops through here. But with all the candles going, with all the names on the floor, possessions next to names on the floor.
Yes. We first always. Something like that.
Grandma
never
first, never.
never again. Never trust. Never again.
Never
we
again.
first always.
We first always. Yeah.
They've been hurt before,
There's,
guys.
It seems
been
like
some
they've
kind
been
of
hurt.
power struggle at this place. Maybe the people who are in charge now are not the original people that put up all the signs.
We predicted before.
This cult rose and took over.
Yeah, or it could be that people came in and they trusted the newcomers, and the newcomers couldn't be trusted, and so now they. I don't know exactly how you get a group of people to spontaneously go to cannibalism. I've never tried that before.
Have you ever tried human meat before, though?
I haven't yet. Maybe it's delicious. I don't know. But yeah, that's interesting. I don't know why they would send them through that room, but that does seem like a pretty good read of what the group must have gone through. I don't know.
There were names on that floor from Woodbury, by the way. I don't know.
Oh, were there really?
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
So.
Gonna need to go
How did you
rewind
recognize
that.
those names?
It says the name and then where they're from and then their age and then there's a thing there.
Interesting. And you recognize the names from Woodbury. So
No, Woodbury was written next to the name.
but I wonder then, how did Woodbury residents get to Terminus or something like that? Okay, good question. I didn't catch that. Man, people are really good at catching these little like the poncho and stuff like that.
Well,
I didn't recognize that stuff.
Rick called it out too. The poncho, where'd that come from? Oh, we got it a clothesline. No, you didn't.
There are other ponchos in the world.
That's a very special poncho. So let's move to the very last
special
scene.
assault armor too.
Yeah,
that-
exactly the right gear.
Let's move to the very last scene in which Rick delivers the line that we wish could have been stronger. They're gonna feel real stupid when they realize they're screwing with the wrong people. It's just another homage to the comics. There were 2 fucks in the comic version, though. I'm just saying.
Your version actually sounds better than it really was. His like they're gonna feel really stupid when they find out.
What?
They're messing with the wrong people. Like that, and everyone would have been like, I thought you were gonna go farther with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a strong line, and it's AMC, it's not HBO. I mean, I would have liked an F-bomb or something like that. And it is a bold thing for someone whose like best weapon right now is their pants or something. It's a bold line, I think.
Well, I'm glad that Rick is back and he's feeling strong and
He's hungry.
he's hungry.
I will be the first to admit when I'm wrong. And I think that scene in this episode cemented Rick as the main character again.
Yes.
So we had moved so far away from Rick, but now it's back, and next season will be the Rick show.
Well,
Maybe.
everyone's been thinking, I guess people who fell away from the show, like our friend Brett, were saying this is the show that kind of brought them back this episode, because we get this strong recurrence of our hero Rick. He's the hero we deserve once again. And
You might be right. You might have been right before, though, because he is strong now. But this might be an indication that they want him to be that character, but they also don't think that they can carry an entire show on him, which is why the last half season they haven't. I mean, it may be that he's that strong guy, but he's not in every scene, which I would be perfectly fine with, I think.
so we still have Tyreese and Carol. Do you think they're going to run in and save the day come season 5?
I think that the most likely thing, I mean, they're headed towards Terminus, so they're going to get there inevitably. They can't just walk in at this point. I think that the most likely thing is that somebody is going to get out of Terminus, like escape or whatever, and it doesn't seem that hard since they don't have any guards. And then they're going to meet up and plan some sort of rescue or something like that.
Or an attack?
An attack on it, exactly. Maybe they can get the tank working again.
How pissed are you right now if you're Abraham?
No.
Who got dragged along
I
the direction he didn't want to go, and now he's stuck in a cattle car.
I can't wait to see Abraham, Daryl, and Rick team up in the super testosterone force, and also Glenn as they take on Terminus.
Yeah, I don't know. And then the scientist has got to feel like, sorry guys, I totally misread this situation.
That was a good impression.
Yeah, I tried. Except with more lank hair.
And less sciencey.
Exactly. No, but so I was hoping that it would actually be a society. I've been predicting all season that they would have to sort of integrate in the group. Looks like that's not going to be a possibility.
Stockholm syndrome. You never know.
Yeah, maybe they'll want to join up. I mean, it's possible that somebody will.
Glenn's going to step forward and be like, hey, you guys, I'm willing to eat people too. I can be people eater.
Exactly. No, I think that the show is in a good place. One thing I want to just quick jump back to, the show is not always great in terms of real character development at times, but I thought that Daryl, when he stepped in when the rapists were attacking, and his solution to the problem was not to start firing arrows at them, but that he simply offered himself up as a sacrifice, I think that shows real character development, that maybe his time with Beth and with those guys
I'm glad you
actually
mentioned
changed
that
him.
actually, because he's been kind of having an identity crisis this whole season of, who am I, who was I, who will I be, what should I be, should I, and then Beth's been affecting him. And he He's a good man.
And then immediately after
He's
he
a
did
real
that,
brother.
he's rewarded with the brother that he always wanted.
That's a good point. Yes. Yeah. I would like to make one prediction. Since this show loves callbacks, I think that at some point, maybe in the first episode of the next season, we're going to have two of the residents of Terminus fighting over Beth's body. They're going to rip it apart, and one is going to be like, well, the ass end is still an end.
John!
Predicting it.
No.
Anyway. Yeah.
Well, I'm worried about Beth. I don't know if she's alive or dead. I'm leaning toward dead.
Do you think
Nah,
that
she was dragged into a car. I think when they want to kill someone, they show their neck getting ripped out or something like that. That's a kidnapping.
I guess they have to really just break Daryl's heart and have it happen right in front of him.
Yeah, maybe.
Sure.
She might still die. Oh, but really, that you bring up
or
a great
Maggie,
point.
why do we always forget that they're sisters? It's like Maggie doesn't even care. She hasn't mentioned
That's
Beth
a
in
good
like
point.
6 episodes.
You know
That's a
when
good
like
point. She
your
only cares about
friends
him.
get in a relationship and they forget about
forget
you?
about
it,
you know?
Like that.
But we definitely mispredicted one thing. No major character deaths, unless I guess you count the rapist group or whatever.
The rapist group was never a major
Well,
character.
but nobody, like I thought maybe Michonne is going to die, maybe Carl is going to die.
You're right.
Nobody died.
I just wanted to not see everyone in the train car. Because if you look at that group,
we haven't seen Beth.
that's true. But like you look and there's like 9 people in the car. It's like, oh,
Rosita's back there like,
I
hey,
guess
I'm still on the show.
everyone
No,
made it.
because this whole season we've been waiting for them to get all back together and become like a group again.
Yeah, I
and
don't
now
have a
that
problem
they're
with
kind of
Michonne
like a family again, and you
Yeah.
know what? They should be scared of screwing with the wrong people, fucker.
The main characters of the show, you done fucked with the protagonists.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
So I guess we're done. We're going to find out what happens in October. So
Oh my God.
You can keep predicting for 7 months until it comes back. And I hope we'll be back for that too. So watch for that. And thanks for joining us for this season of The Walking Dead.